Brilliant Stars releases in about 6 weeks, and until then, I can't stop myself from coming up or trying to create different deck lists specifically for Single Strike Urshifu, and we'll do some other stuff eventually, but for now, we're talking Single Strike. Hey everybody, Nick from 9Card TCG, and today we are going to be looking at a deck list I created for Single Strike. This is still a mix of Urshifu, Umbreon, but it's going to look a little bit different than what you might be used to, and maybe some of the cards you would expect to see in a Single Strike deck. So let's go over to Pokegear, the Pokegear app, link to that in the video description, and let's take a look at this deck list. Here we are at Pokegear, again, link in the video description, and all of the English Brilliant Star cards that you're seeing here are proxies created by Talonite X. You can find their Twitter in the video description as well, so huge thank you to Talonite X and everybody who works to translate these cards, get them up, and get these proxies so that we can do these deck profiles real justice. Now, there's going to be a couple of things that I want to say, and I guess the first thing we should talk about is really Umbreon here. Umbreon's attack, right, is 1 dark, 2 colorless, and the main goal is to use this to knock out dark, weak Pokemon. Mew, Shadow Rider, what's the other one? Dragapult. Those are the big 3. Maybe we'll get another one in the future, but those are the 3 right now that are weak to dark. We really just see Mew. Now, the scenario that I'm going to be crafting here to sell this is one that happens kind of often. You whiff a Houndoom, or maybe you only have one Houndour to start. You have your Umbreon and a Houndour, and that's about it. And you're like, man, I can't even attack next time. I can poke with Mean Look for maybe 50 or 70, and I can, again, against dark weak Pokemon, you're hitting for 100, 140, something like that. But like for the most part, you're not really doing the damage you need. What I propose here is that if you're in a scenario where you have an Umbreon and a Houndour, now you can use, I keep right clicking, you can use Peers, which lets you search for a dark type Pokemon and an energy card you want. The reason why this is so important is because we're going to use Peers to find our Houndoom, and the energy is going to be this double turbo energy. So we evolve into Houndoom, and Houndoom has the Single Strike Roar ability, which lets us search our deck for a Single Strike card or Single Strike energy and attach it to a Single Strike Pokemon. Now, Single Strike energies do increase your damage output by 20. The reason why we're searching this double turbo energy is that it provides 2 colorless energies for just 1 attachment. The downside is that your attacks do 20 less damage. So you are actually negating the effect of double turbo energy. I guess you can look at it 2 ways. You can look at the positive. Well, I'm not losing 20 damage with double turbo energy, and you can look at it as a negative. Well, I'm not gaining the extra 20 damage from Single Strike energy. Now, with the double turbo energy and a Single Strike Roar to your Houndoom, from your Houndoom to your Umbreon, you are now able to attack for 160, because remember, Umbreon's attack here says that if you have any damage counters on it, it does an additional 80 damage, which brings you to base 160. So now you're hitting for 160, because plus 20, minus 20 from the Single Strike energy turbo energy negate each other, okay? You can do that in 1 turn 2, very, very easily. And if you do happen to have other Houndours on the bench and one of them has to get sacrificed, or you have to use one of them to knock out a Meloetta, and it's okay, because you're not losing that energy acceleration that Single Strike requires. You're also not investing all of your Single Strike energies onto a single Umbreon, and just for that to get knocked out, it's like, oh man, now I gotta dig really deep into the deck to try to find an Urn of Vitality or something so I can get those Single Strike energies back into the deck, and then I have to have the Houndooms in the deck or in play so that I can use Single Strike Roar to get it onto my Pokemon here. I start taking damage, and oh man, a couple of Single Strike Roars, and that 310 HP drops down suddenly to 270, and you're getting one shot by a single prize Meloetta. It doesn't really feel good. But if we can not have to do that, right? We have 2 Umbreons in play, or we have an Umbreon and more Morpeko, or whatever it is we're doing. We have a Houndoom. Houndoom is good enough to knock out Meloetta. It's a very good secondary attacker for the Mew matchup. And one of the reasons that people don't like to attack with Houndoom is because, like I said, they need that Houndoom for energy acceleration. So now we're able to push the Houndoom to the front to deal with Mew and kind of keep them behind on prizes and take out that Meloetta. And we're not losing as much because, again, double turbo energy, which if you do the math, 160 times 2 is still 320. So you're able to take out the one shot on these psychic type VMAXs, no problem. So that's kind of what I'm suggesting here. Now, the rest of the deck is to either help with that or take a slightly different path. We do have Lumineon V. It has the Luminous Sign. There we go. Luminous Sign ability, which when you play this Pokemon from your hand to the bench during your turn, you can search your deck for a supporter and put it into your hand. What supporter you choose will be dependent on what you need to accomplish that turn. So we could search for a Piers, which we already looked at. Search for a Piers to get that Houndoom double turbo energy. You could search for your boss's orders, a research if you need to dig deep into your deck. Boss could be if there's a Mew VMAX on the bench and you have 3 prizes left or 2 prizes left and you want to take the knockout. Well, you can't use Umbreon VMAX's Dark Signal ability if they have any Fusion Strike energies on their Mew VMAX, which, let's be honest, they probably will. So now you just search your deck for that boss's orders and boom, there you go. You can take game even if you don't have the Umbreon VMAX. And speaking of Umbreon VMAX, it does have the Dark Double Colorless attack cost and hits for native 160. So you'll probably have damage counters on this if you're accelerating any energy or just because damage from gameplay. But you can still make that 160 attack for at the same pace, at the same speed. So I really, really like this. And I know some people are concerned, like, well, Umbreon now can't take those one-shots on Vs and stuff, and honestly, that wasn't Umbreon's goal. That wasn't Umbreon's function in the deck. Umbreon's function was to cover Urshifu's weakness and also to help boss and gust up Pokemon as needed. That's what Umbreon does. It's not meant to take those big one-shots. That is where Urshifu comes into play. So now we're playing something that is not Mew. Maybe we're playing anything else in the game. Now we can use our Single Strike Urshifu to take those knockouts on Vs. We're taking knockouts on Jolteon VMAX super easy with Impact Blow. And we can save our, if we start with an Umbreon or something, we can still start attacking because we have double turbo energy. But we can also save our Single Strike energies for our Urshifu now. One of the cool things about double turbo energy is with the Urshifu VMAX. Look at the beatdown attack, has 3 colorless energy attack cost. So now in one turn you can power up that beatdown, and this is really, really cool after you've maybe Gmax 1 blow and they send up a Pokemon. Well, now you can search a deck for a boss's orders, or you can play an Umbreon VMAX, bring a Crobat to the bench, or from the bench to the active, double turbo, single strike roar, boom, now you're taking 2 prizes with the beatdown. Super, super easy way of getting a very fast follow-up attack with an Urshifu VMAX. This is really good for finishing off Pokemon that might have been damaged and they retreated to the bench and you had a Gmax 1 blow to get that VMAX out of the way. Well, now you can finish off something with the beatdown. So that double turbo energy will help even for the Urshifu. It doesn't help with the Gmax 1 blow because it is a 3 fighting requirement, but even in the current builds, you have to have 3 single strike energies anyway, because most people are running 4 single strike energies, 4 capture energies. So the other energies, replacing the capture energies with the double turbo energy, doesn't really matter as much because it doesn't contribute towards Gmax 1 blow or Impact Blow. And we're not really using Laser Focus very much anyway because you're at high risk for getting knocked out the following turn. So not really worth having those extra basic fighting energies, if anything. And we want to include 1 additional fighting energy into the deck instead of maybe a 4th double turbo energy. If we feel like they're not super useful, I could see a case for that being made. Maybe an impact energy instead, but something. So again, double turbo energy. Well, we have this choice belt too, which will also provide an additional damage buff to Pokemon if we do have to attach a double turbo energy to our single strike Urshifu. we have 2 single strike energies. So now it does 180, 200, 220. With Choice Belt, we're now doing 250. But oh wait, we're getting minus 20 from double turbo energy, so we're still doing 230, which is enough to knock out pretty much any Pokemon V in the game. If we really wanted to, we could be not using double turbo energy and just accelerate all of our single strike energies to single strike Urshifu V. Now we're hitting for 240 plus this 30, you're hitting 270, which is not exactly the number we want to see. We still need to hit 280 to knock out every Pokemon V-Star we've seen, but we're knocking out a good amount of Pokemon V-Stars in one hit, and for sure every Pokemon V. So we have ways of taking care of whatever is put in front of us, and that's what I really like about Single Strike. Anything that happens, there we go. We can start making things work. We do have a Crobat in the deck so that we can play it and draw a little bit deeper. We have Battle VIP Pass. Now, it's not a perfect exchange for capture energies, but between the Ultra Ball, Quick Ball, and Battle VIP Pass, we are able to set up our bench very, very quickly turn 1, or if we go second, then we can dig for 1 or search, whatever. So Battle VIP Pass is great for getting that explosive turn 1, and if we miss the Battle VIP Pass's turn 1, well then it's free fodder, meaning it's something we can discard for free with Quick Ball and especially Ultra Ball, which requires you to discard 2 cards from your hand in order to use Ultra Ball, and you can search your deck for any Pokemon. So now you're able to Ultra Ball for a Lumineon V, and then boom, there you go. You get your throw it onto the bench, and you get your peers, or you get your boss for game. You bring up that Crobat, quick acceleration with double turbo energy, beat down attack. There you go, game over. There's so many different things that we can do. We have a couple of Marnies for draw support. We have research for draw support. We do have a couple of switch outs and an air balloon so that we're not totally stuck in the active, even though, again, if someone does boss up that Urshifu VMAX because it has a retreat cost of 3, well, now we're just a turbo energy and a single strike energy attachment away from either retreating or hitting with beatdown for 100 damage. And again, 100 damage on a Crobat, that's 200, enough to knock it out. It's enough to knock out a Jolteon V if that's what you're playing against. It's enough to knock out Drizziles and stuff like that. So, and if you have even more single strike energies, you can beat down. You make the play that you need to make, but you have options. We have the Tool Scrapper to get rid of opposing Choice Belts and Air Balloons, Vitality Bands, whatever, even though Choice Belt will replace Vitality Band pretty much, unless Choice Belt, it has to be attached to the attacks of this Pokemon, do 30 more damage to your opponent's active Pokemon V. So Choice Belt's going to replace Vitality Band, because Vitality Band just does 10 damage to anything, 10 extra damage to anything, but everyone runs Vs. And most VMAX attacks will be enough to knock out single price Pokemon, so probably don't need Vitality Band. And then, of course, earn a Vitality to find those single strike energies from the Gmax 1 blow, from when a Pokemon gets knocked out. We can now find them, and we have a little bit more search with something like Lumineon to find the research instead of just the Marnie. We can search a little bit more, throw down a Crobat, draw a few cards, play Lumineon, find our research, throw that down, dig even deeper. Then we could use Tower of Darkness to discard a single strike card from our hand to draw 2 extra cards. We could be seeing a lot of cards in one turn with single strike if you play it right. Now, obviously, we might start playing and say, oh man, V-Stars are kind of taking over a little bit, and we're not seeing Mew as much for some reason. Maybe we'd kick down one of these Umbreons to another Urshifu V so that we can really make sure we're able to attack effectively. Maybe Lumineon's not as helpful as we wanted it to be, and we get a second Crobat in there. Maybe these double turbo energies, maybe we do get another capture energy in there. Maybe we do go ahead and get a basic fighting or an impact energy or something like that so that we can attach it however we need. Who really knows? This is just an idea. Maybe Piers isn't as helpful as I think it is, even though I always loved Piers in single strike, especially decks that use Umbreon a little bit heavier. So only one way to find out, and that's to do some play testing, but I cannot wait to open up some Brilliant Stars. I will be doing an opening when I get my box of Brilliant Stars I ordered from Card Trooper Games, so you can probably still go over there and find a booster box if it hasn't sold out. There's some crazy nice alternate arts, Charizard V alternate, Arceus V alternate, Rainbows of the V Stars. There's going to be some really, really cool cards, and I cannot wait. February, the almost March, I guess, cannot come fast enough. But let me know what you think of this deck. What do you think its flaws are going to be? What is it going to struggle against? How do you think it'll perform? I think this is a little bit more consistent, a little bit faster, since we're not so reliant on hitting those Houndours and evolving them into Houndooms turn 2, turn 3 at the latest. How many times does that happen? You're just like, man, I just need to draw a Houndoom and I can start making. Now you don't really need to. Yeah, Umbreon, it'll take a 2-shot on VMAXs, but you know what? You're hitting so fast that you probably could start getting those turn 2 VMAX attacks off. You probably could start getting maybe not turn 2 GMAX 1 blows if you're not super reliant on the Houndooms, but that's where something like Battle VIP Pass and Quick Balls and Ultra Balls come into play. We can really try to find those Pokemon and dig specifically for the things that we need. But yeah, that's going to do it for us today. I did this last time. I have to switch over. That's going to do it for us today. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, found it a little informative. I really want to know what you think of this deck. If you like it, well, subscribe and then we'll do more deck lists. And if you don't, tell me in the comments what you think should be changed. What do you not like about it? I want to know regardless. Hitting the like button and all that kind of stuff tells YouTube that this is a good video and other people should watch it. We got a cool giveaway happening when we hit 1,000 subscribers. And I will see you next time.